Shalom, Israel. So today we're going to be making a basic unleavened bread recipe. So what you're going to need is you're going to need flour. This is the flour that I'm using. 2 cups of flour. Sugar. This is the sugar that I use. You're going to need 2 cups of sugar. 4 eggs. 2 sticks of butter. You're going to need some vanilla. About a tablespoon of vanilla. And you're going to need a salt, probably like 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, just a little bit. All right. So this is a basic unleavened bread recipe. You're going to need a mixing bowl and a spatula and a whisk. All right. So this is the basic unleavened bread recipe, okay? Now, for your flavors, you can customize your unleavened bread with any flavor that you like. Just make sure that the flavors does not have leaven in it, okay? So the basic, 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, 4 eggs, 2 sticks of melted butter. You want to make sure your butter is melted. You can melt it in the microwave. All right, so 2 sticks of melted or room temperature butter. All right, but it has to be really, really soft in order to mix in the batter. Okay, so that's the basic. Now, these are some of the things that you can customize your unleavened bread flavor. These are some of the things you can add for flavor. All right, so you can make a strawberry unleavened bread with some strawberry extract here. And as you can see, these ingredients do not have leaven in them. All right, so that's one flavor you can do. You can add almond. You can do almond unleavened bread with some almond extract. All right. You can do raspberry extract. You can make raspberry unleavened bread. You can make coconut unleavened bread. You can do lemon unleavened bread. You can do orange unleavened bread, orange flavor unleavened bread. You also can do, this is the ice cream toppings, all right? You can do a caramel flavor unleavened bread. The ingredients does not have leaven in them, okay? You also can do chocolate. You can do chocolate syrup. Now, keep in mind that when it comes to using these different flavors, you do not need a lot. You do it to your tasting. Sometimes you might just need a couple tablespoons, 1 to 2 tablespoons. All right. You find out what works for you. But the basic unleavened bread is the 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, your 4 eggs, your 2 sticks of melted, softened room temperature butter, vanilla extract, and a little bit of salt. All right. So what you're going to do first is you're going to take your dry ingredients, your flour, your 2 cups of flour. You're going to add it to the bowl. Your 2 cups of sugar, add it to the bowl, and your salt. All right. You also can add cinnamon and nutmeg. Okay, those are your dry ingredients if you would like to add those. All right. Okay, so you take your dry ingredients and you mix them together. You want to mix those first. Okay. Then you're going to take your wet ingredients. Okay, your wet ingredients is your 2 sticks of butter. You're going to put those in. Your 4 eggs. Now, tip, it is best to go ahead and crack open your eggs and mix them separate to make sure that there is no eggshells in your bread. You do not want eggshells in your bread. All right, so it's best to go ahead and mix those separately. Also, it helps with the mixing as well when it comes to mixing it. It's best to go ahead and crack your eggs in a separate bowl and mix them together. Make sure there's no eggshells in it, okay? So you're going to add your eggs to your batter, your 4 eggs, your melted butter to your batter. Then you're going to add your vanilla, about a tablespoon of vanilla. All right, so these here would be considered wet ingredients. All right, you want to go ahead and add your syrups, whether you're making strawberry, and you also can add fruit to this as well. I would not advise adding nuts. because some people have allergies to nuts. All right. So when I'm making unleavened bread for the congregation, I do not add nuts because people have allergies to nuts. Okay. So you would go ahead, if you was making your strawberry, you would add a little bit of a couple tablespoons of strawberry syrup. If you was making a caramel bread, unleavened bread, you would add that. If you was making a chocolate unleavened bread, you would add a little bit of that. All right. And so you also can customize your bread with fruit. All right. Fruit. Strawberries. You can add strawberries. You chop your strawberries up. You can add strawberries to your. You make a strawberry unleavened bread. What else? You can do peaches. You can do a peach unleavened bread. You can do an apple. You can do an apple unleavened bread. You can do a pineapple unleavened bread. So there's many ways to custom and flavor your unleavened bread. Unleavened bread is supposed to be sweet, and it's supposed to taste good. Now, if this is your first time and you're practicing, you can have the ingredients to do some experimental bread, what we call experimental bread. So you can have it just until you can get it right. All right. So instead of 2 cups of flour, do 1 cup of flour. Instead of 2 cups of sugar, do 1 cup of sugar. Instead of 4 eggs, you do 2 eggs. Instead of 2 sticks of butter, you do 1 stick of butter. All right. Still about the same amount of your vanilla extract, maybe like 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract, a dash of salt. Okay, so to test it out, to experiment with. So once you get your batter mixed, taste your batter. Taste your batter. Make sure it's not, it tastes well. Make sure the batter is mixed well. So you're gonna need a baking dish. This is the baking dish that I use, and I'm just making a small pan for my Lord's household. You can use a metal baking dish. Preferably, I like glass. All right. Baking dishes, you can get them from Walmart. You can get them from your local grocery store. You even can get them from the thrift store. Okay. So once your batter is mixed, you're going to take a light spray. This is a spray that I use because you want to spray your pan. All right. So spray it lightly. Spray your baking pan. Okay. Then you're going to pour your batter in. Once you pour your batter in, make sure that your batter is even in the baking dish. Okay. Now, make sure you have your oven preheated. Okay. So every oven is different. You have to find out what works for your oven. Typically, I put my oven anywhere from 330 to 350. Start at 350. Okay. Preheat your oven to 350. Again, you have to find out what works for your oven. Okay. So 350 degrees. You're going to stick put your batter into the oven. Okay. So every oven is different again. However, unleavened bread can take up to roughly 30 minutes. Sometimes it can take a little less. Sometimes it can take a little more. What you want to do is watch your bread. Okay. Then once it's done, you're going to take a toothpick or either a fork. You're going to stick it in the bread. If your toothpick or your fork comes out clean, if it comes out dry, your bread is ready. Okay, so you're gonna have to watch it because you're gonna have to find out, what temperature works and how long does it take in your oven, because every oven is, somewhat different sometimes. Okay. So that's the basic unleavened bread recipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mix everything together. Then I'll show you what my batter looks like. Okay, so I'm back. So I went on ahead and melted my butter. That's my melted butter. I got my sugar, my eggs. It's already mixed. All right, you can take a whisk and do that. Okay. And my vanilla, I already added my flour. I am making sweet potato bread, so I already added my flour to it. All right, so go ahead and add my sugar. All right, it's my dry ingredients. My salt is already added. And you want to make sure you mix your dry ingredients together. Wow. Okay, so now I'm going to add my eggs. Gonna add my butter, vanilla. All right, so I've added my sweet potatoes. So now I'm going to mix. Gonna go ahead and use a whisk to mix everything up with the spatula. If you want, you can use a hand mixer. I'm not using a hand mixer. I'm just using a whisk and a spatula. So if you don't have a hand mixer, go ahead and do it the old-fashioned way, a whisk and a spatula. All right, so this is how it is looking. Okay, so tip, if you are using a hand mixer, make sure that you take a spatula. You're going to need a spatula. A spatula comes in handy because it helps scrape the sides down. Make sure that all of your batter is mixed evenly. Make sure there's no dry batter to the bottom or to the sides. Same thing if you're using a whisk. You want to make sure that you take your spatula and you scrape the sides to make sure that there is no flour or no dry batter. Make sure everything is mixed properly. Okay, so if everything is not mixed properly, sometimes your bread can come out not tasting good, or it could come out dry. So you want to make sure that everything is mixed evenly. You don't want to over mix, but you want to make sure that everything is mixed properly. All right, so this is my batter. So what I'm going to do is spray my pan here. A light spray. Now I'm going to pour my batter in. All right, so this is how it is looking in my baking dish. I'm going to put this in the oven. All right, and check it often. All right, and we'll come back. All right, so this is the end product of my unleavened bread. As you can see, I stuck some forks in them to make sure that the fork came out clean. It came out dry. So this is how it, looks once it come out of the oven. I just got it out of the oven. Okay. So thank you so much for watching my video. There'll be more videos to come. Shalom.